There's few names in the world of entertainment that are more evocative than John Rambo. Just the word alone is enough to stir up images of big, bombastic, testosterone-fueled action movies full of shirtless guys one-handing light machine guns to mow their way through wave after wave of disposable enemies. The Rambo series was fun, action-packed and delightfully over the top. But looking back on it now, it's easy to forget that it all began with a gritty, thoughtful, low-budget thriller from 1982 about a traumatised Vietnam vet who ends up bringing the war back to small-town America. But I haven't forgotten though, so let's talk about it right now. The movie begins in the small rural community of Hope, Washington, where ex-soldier John Rambo is on his way to visit an old army buddy. There's no action-packed opening to grab your attention here, it's just long, thoughtful shots of a man walking down lonely, rain-soaked roads. Eventually, he reaches his friend's home, only to find out that the man died of cancer the previous year. Depressed and lost, Rambo makes his way into town to find a place to eat, only to run straight into local sheriff Will Teasel. Straight away you can tell this guy doesn't want Rambo around, mistaking his army jacket as some kind of ironic protest against the military, and assuming he's just another aimless drifter looking for a free ride. He makes it pretty fucking clear that Rambo isn't welcome around here, but the man stubbornly refuses to move on. Before long, the animosity escalates into a minor confrontation, and Rambo finds himself spending a night in the cells. But when Teasel's deputies start harassing him, it triggers traumatic flashbacks of being imprisoned and tortured in Vietnam, finally causing him to snap and escape into the nearby mountains. Their botched attempt to recapture him results in one of them getting killed and several others wounded. Clearly, they've seriously underestimated this guy, and I love how quickly and easily he turns the tables on them, taking them out one after another until only Teasel is left.
Don't push it. Don't push it, I'll give you a war you won't believe.
Despite a warning from Rambo's former CO to call off the hunt and defuse the situation, Teasel's not about to let this shit go. I love this line right here as well.
Are you telling me that 200 men against your boy is a no-win situation for us?
You send that many, don't forget one thing.
What?
A good supply of body bags.
Anyway, their search escalates into a full-scale manhunt with police, state troopers, and even the National Guard involved. But somehow, Rambo always manages to stay one step ahead, living off the land and fighting the kind of guerrilla war he was trained to wage in Vietnam. The action finally culminates in an armed confrontation between Rambo and Teasel, where Rambo literally brings the war to his doorstep, destroying much of the town in the process. First Blood is simply a fantastic movie that holds up remarkably well even today, and actually does some pretty unexpected things when you think about it. I mean, a film about a dedicated town sheriff trying to bring to justice an unstable ex-soldier that's gone rogue and started a brutal war against his own country really feels like it should frame Rambo as the villain and Teasel as the hero. Far from it though. Not only does it portray Rambo in a deeply sympathetic light, but it also encourages you to question the mindset and motivations of both men, suggesting that perhaps there's a real moral ambiguity here. Rambo himself is the polar opposite of Stallone's other great cinematic alter ego. Whereas Rocky was talkative, optimistic and upbeat, Rambo is brooding, sullen and dangerous. He barely speaks throughout most of the movie, and it's only when his former commanding officer steps in that he starts to open up about how shitty and worthless his life is now. It's not often that a character manages to embody that combination of physical danger and emotional vulnerability, but they really got the balance just right with Rambo. And his final monologue, where he vents all of his pent-up anger and frustration and rage before breaking down into a sobbing mess, perfectly sums up what so many other guys went through after returning to a country that no longer wanted or respected them. By the end, he's neither a drifter nor a soldier, but simply a damaged man, pushed beyond his limits, begging for forgiveness and understanding. On the surface, Teasel comes across as your typical bigoted small-town sheriff, determined to get his man at any cost. But deep down, he's not really an evil person. He just doesn't understand what he's dealing with, and his desire for payback and refusal to back down ultimately proves to be his undoing. One thing that I really appreciate is tight, efficient screenwriting, and First Blood is a great example of giving your audience just the right thing at the right time. There's just enough action scenes to liven things up, but they never feel over the top or gratuitous. In fact, they're usually pretty short and grounded, and there's a real sense of consequence and tension. action. There's enough character moments and conversations to give you a good insight into the main players without coming across as bloated or self-indulgent. The movie even takes time out of the manhunt to show Teasel sitting down with Rambo's former CO, the two men discussing their differing perspectives over a quiet drink. Damn, how many movies these days would bother to include a scene like this? Even the landscape views and establishing shots go on just long enough to let you soak in the atmosphere without dragging down the pacing. First Blood clocks in at just 93 minutes, but god damn, it manages to fit in so fucking much in that time that it feels like it should be well over 2 hours, which is pretty impressive considering the original cut was over 3 hours long and was apparently so bad that Stallone felt physically sick after watching it. If you need an example of the power of good editing, well, this is it. First Blood really feels like it came along at just the right time in American history. The country was still grappling with the legacy of Vietnam and the generation of damaged, disillusioned young men who came back from it. The film manages to tread a careful path between a strong anti-war sentiment and respect and compassion for those who actually had to fight in it. And the ending suggests that perhaps we could all use a little more of both. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.